Welcome, friends,
to the How To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We are your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you'd better make the fucking most of it.
That is the truth.
Let's do it. Well, Uncle Dan.
Yeah, let's do a show, shall we?
Let's do the show. We have a good one this week. We have Uncle Doug joining us to surprise us with a something from the Bible or one of the holy books.
He's delving, I think, into our Book of Mormon, but it's all a mystery to us.
Yeah, so this is going to be fun. I'm not sure what we're talking about today with Doug. I've known him for over 40 years. I'm never sure what I'm talking about with him.
Right, yeah, that guy.
And then Professor Jim joins us again to talk about one of our favorite logical fallacies.
A philosophical concept.
That has to do with holes and what you put in them.
Right, exactly. The canyons into which we place our deities.
And then, Dan, you have a little magic trick you want to talk about.
It's going to be great. I'm the David Blaine of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing.
If you're a cannibal or cannibal curious, you're going to want to stick around.
Let's do this show.
All right.
Hey, Uncle Mark, every now and then, I don't know if you remember this, we sometimes delve into the holy books.
Yeah, we like to look at, because they're all good.
They're good books.
They're all amazing.
I mean, when you say good, I think we're saying they're good both in their nature as
and their nurture.
And they're so well written. I think that's the other thing.
They are ripping yarns, all of them. Well, so we have a little segment we call For the Bible Tells Us So, and we just want to make sure we're being ecumenical.
Sure, not every book is the Bible.
No, but the only good book is the Bible. But we want to make sure that we're covering everybody's holy bases, taking a look at the canon that undergirds Western civilization, and realizing what a nightmarish bunch of bullshit it is. So this week, we're joined by our former professional Mormon missionary and co-uncle, Doug.
Hi, Doug.
Hi, guys. Who is going to tell us a little bit about some foundational stories in the Book of Mormon.
Well, indeed, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, no, it's a joy and a delight. It's white and delightsome to have you here. You're going to tell us some stories. Our listeners know that we three are all former Mormons, or Formans, as I like to say. And so this is you all listeners at home should understand that whatever bullshit Doug's about to spout was to us every bit as real and true.
Yes.
As the bullshit that's in whatever your former holy book was.
That's very good context for what we're about to talk about.
let's just delve a little bit into that reality, shall we?
Yeah.
So I've got a couple stories that come from different parts of the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
They dovetail pretty well together in the morality that they lay out. And, every religion has hypocrisy.
What?
I know. It's true.
I don't know that I buy that.
But this kind of, we're in a moment now where claiming to be religious has kind of lost all meaning in the current situation we're in.
If only it had, yeah.
Saying, "Oh, I'm a Christian, therefore ... used to have some at least follow-on words that meant something after that.
Right.
And that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Well, I'm a Christian, therefore ... I can justify anything I want
Exactly.
Are you pining for the olden days, Doug?
No. All I'm saying is that the Mormon Church was kind of the OG hypocritical church.
Oh, okay.
There's probably no greater disconnect between, I think, a religion and its founding document than there is between the Mormon Church and the Book of Mormon. And these two stories will very much lay that out, and we can.
Are you saying that there is more of a direct connection between Battlefield Earth and Scientology than there is?
Most definitely.
Yeah, I realized that was a stupid question as I was proposing it. So, all right.
You just brought up my favorite movie, a movie that I literally went to see on opening day.
Doug went to see Battlefield Earth on opening day.
And I was excited.
What was the other movie you saw at opening? Event Horizon.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like The Devil in Space. Which is
Okay,
just the
so
stupidest
we've
thing
switched to movie review day. So no,
Okay, so
let's get back to this before we have to change our category on iTunes.
ever. An indictment of Doug's life through his movie choices.
yeah, and as it's been stated on this podcast many times, if you want to know something about the Mormon Church, the last place you should go is the Book of Mormon.
Right. I actually, just a quick note, I recently, just today, I think, this morning, saw a video that the Mormons put out that was like, what Mormons believe in 60 seconds. And even though they said the words the Book of Mormon, not a single one of the beliefs that they mentioned are of or from or about the
Really?
Book of
Right.
Mormon. They believe in the Book of Mormon, but not the stuff.
As long as it's closed.
Right.
My life would have been so improved if they could have told me their shit in 60 seconds.
Right?
Yeah.
So
but-
would mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Book of Mormon, as your listeners know, is the adventures of ancient Jews in South America, as translated by Joseph Smith by way of a small stone he found in a hole, not the Urim and Thummim, as we were told as kids.
What?
From a solid gold book he found in his backyard, written in an unknown language called Reformed Egyptian. You know, history.
Yeah. Everybody knows this.
Yeah,
Everybody
right.
knows
Yeah.
this.
You can cut that part out.
Yeah.
So early in the Book of Mormon, in the first book of Nephi, which is the first book of the Book of Mormon, so dumb. That book chronicles the departure from Jerusalem of Lehi and his family, their journey to the ocean, their building of the ship, their journey to America over the Atlantic Ocean.
Which, by the way, that first journey to the ocean was like this 20-year epic journey to get 15 miles or whatever it was.
Right, exactly. And also, of course, there's a golden compass.
And then
Right.
and then they managed and then after that epic 15-mile journey, they end up crossing the entire ocean relatively uneventfully.
And we'll talk about this. There are some very weird time dilations in the chronology of the Book of Mormon.
Sure.
So it's a 1,000-year narrative, and there are books that cover 300 years
Right.
in like 3 pages, and then there's books that cover like 50 years in 200 pages.
Right.
So it's that's what happens when you make up a book. So during the journey from Jerusalem, Lehi, the father of the family, had this particular dream, and it's a dream that strangely enough, Joseph Smith's father had maybe 15, 20 years before Joseph wrote the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a vision that he had that somehow found its way.
He
into
was
these-
plagiarizing his dad's dreams?
Exactly.
Wow.
Dick move.
So this vision is so convoluted and so ridiculous that we don't need to go into it. I mean, it's got a tree of life. It's got a straight and narrow path, glowing fruit,
Yeah.
an iron rod or railing,
Yeah.
and, of course, a great and spacious building. And that's what I'd like to talk about for a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
This building appears in his vision or his dream as this giant building kind of floating in the air, full of wicked and evil people who are ridiculing and making fun of the people who are trying to stay on the straight and narrow path
Right.
to make their way to the tree
Those
of
are
life.
the good holy
Yes.
sacred people.
So the great and narrow building is a representation of
Great and narrow building.
It's like the Flatiron in New York.
I love that building.
It's cool, but it's a little narrow.
It's like, why is it so narrow? Great and spacious, I think,
Yeah.
is what we were going for. Right.
it's a representation of the world and of the travails the righteous will have to endure to get to blah 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 blah.
Because of us evil folk.
Right.
right.
And so the
Whatever, bitches, we got a building.
Right. What do you have, a tree?
Have fun with your railing out there, dum-dum.
Hold to your rod.
Yeah.
which is a song, Hold to the Rod.
Yeah.
The notion of the great and spacious building is throughout Mormon culture, and it's invoked often, and it's invoked kind of as an incantation that this is evil, or don't fall prey to the world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
Don't seek shelter indoors.
what I think is so fantastic about this, and where I think the hypocrisy of the Mormon faith in particular and religion in general is kind of laid out here, is the Mormon church basically, if it's known to anyone for anything, is known for its great and spacious buildings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
They're good at building shit.
They're good, and it's not just block buildings. It's not just church house and stuff. It's the temples.
Yeah.
And most of your listeners out there who are not familiar with the Mormons or with Utah will be familiar with one of the temples that's in their country or state or region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just for an exercise in futility, I thought I'd just ask you guys to describe a couple of these buildings as I show them to you, because they're so ostentatious. So again, this is the religion whose foundational document, right at the beginning, laid out the fact that great and spacious buildings are a representation of evil. And so...
All right, lay it on me.
What does that look like to you guys?
What Douglas is showing us is a picture of a very famous box in Salt Lake City.
Yes. The tallest building in the state of Utah.
State mandated by state law.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't,
The
you're not
tallest
allowed to go higher than that. That'll change.
This is
eventually.
the Soviet-style church office building in downtown Salt Lake City
Yes.
Yeah.
that they were worried on 9/11 would be the next target for jihadis. And I did laugh at such sport because a 747 going at full throttle wouldn't scratch that fucking thing.
It is so much like the Ministry of Truth from 1984.
Yeah.
It's just okay, so let's...
I kind of really like the building. I'll say that.
Really? You like the brutalist?
Yeah, I'm into the brutalist.
It's
thing.
not even good. I don't even think it's good brutalism.
I don't. I like it. It's fine.
All right,
It
I'll
also
allow it.
It's got the cock and balls thing going on.
It does. It's a very tall building with two giant globes flanking the base of the shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, for some inexplicable reason, do not have giant cauldrons of fire in front of them.
Right. Yeah.
500-foot flames would be amazing.
Here's a picture of the San Diego Mormon Temple.
Oh yeah.
Tell me what that looks like to you guys.
It's like a castle sort of thing. It's white.
It looks like a castle that is capable of interstellar travel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the castle from the Never-Ending Story.
yeah,
yeah.
very much so.
Or it's something from Krull.
And then, there's of course, this one's very iconic. This is the D.C. Temple.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyone around the capital of our country has seen this, including probably Donald Trump.
It looks like something used to skewer skydivers.
Yeah, it's a very sharp building that looks like it's made of sugar.
Got lots of pokey parts going straight
Yeah.
up.
And then there's the Mac Daddy of them all, and this is a building we are all familiar with. This is the LDS.
Oh yeah, the
Convention Center,
the Supernacle.
Conference Center.
Yeah,
excuse
the
me.
mega knackle.
The Mega Knackle. And the three of us have actually taken a tour of this building.
Oh, it's a delightful tour. I highly recommend it if you come to Salt Lake City.
And-
and it is a great and spacious building, and they will brag nonstop to you on the tour, which is guided by mandate. You can't just go. You can't just check it out. But yeah, they'll tell you all about how many 747s you can fit into it.
It's a 1.4 million square foot building. It seats 21,000 people, and they, like you said, brag about the fact that you can fit two 747s side by side inside the main hall.
Yeah.
And there is an actual depiction of the great and spacious building
Oh no,
inside this building.
That's
Is
right.
there?
That's
Yeah,
right.
there is.
is it up in the Friedberg Gallery?
It's not Freeburg, but it's someone else. But it's in that part
Oh
of it.
yeah,
So-
yeah. So it is as in the age of in the 80s and whatever, when there was Robert Schuller and the Crystal Cathedral and it was bigger is better.
Yes.
Church evangelism. These guys just fucking dominated that game when they built this thing.
Of course, let's not forget that also that building's right across the street from the Mormon Church-owned mall and the Mormon Church-owned giant skyscraper-style condo buildings and all of that sort of stuff, too.
Which it would be fine and whatever, were it not for the fact that it's in your book.
Yeah.
Your book says this.
Yeah, exactly. The metaphor for the worst things on this planet.
And it's so early in the book that most Mormons have probably read it.
Yeah, exactly. And they talk about it.
Yeah, it's across the street from their $2 billion tax-exempt mall, which is so great and spacious it has a retractable roof.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anywho, so I mean, I think it goes to show you what religion should look like if God was a Colombian drug lord. Okay, so that's the story of the great and spacious building, and there's another story I'd like to jump into that we find in the Book of Alma.
Yeah.
Now, if the Book of Mormon was not the perfect word of God, the Book of Alma would be the second act of your friend's screenplay that goes on way, 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 way too long.
Right.
It's the longest book in the Book of Mormon, and it only covers about 63 years of time.
Oh, God.
So and this is, I think, probably one of the books that Joseph
so
had been
it's told in real time.
basically. And I think when Joseph was writing the Book of Mormon or his cohorts, I think there were parts of the book that they'd been working on and workshopping for a long time. And the Book of Alma is definitely one of those books because there's all the stories, the Captain Moroni and Ammon and the arms that sound like I just made that shit up and I didn't.
All right.
That's all in the Book of Alma.
Ammon and arms. Ammon arms. Great story.
Yeah, great stuff. So let's see here. I'm not going to bore you with a ton of shit that happens in the Book of Alma because it is insanely boring.
Yeah, and people should know that, like, when you open the Book of Mormon to Alma, it does actually make, like, sad music starts to play, or like ominous music starts to play. Like, you're in for it now.
So it is a really long narrative, but the part we're going to focus on is there was a Nephite named Alma, and remember the Nephites are the white ones.
They're the good ones. They're the good guys.
Yeah,
and we know this because God has carefully color-coded the humans.
All holy books share this particular color coding, right? So that's a pro tip from your uncles here. They just whenever you're reading one of these who the bad guys are right up front.
Right. The darker, the worse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's just words to live by.
Oh God,
cut that part out. Yeah.
Okay. We're not even recording.
So Alma takes his buddies, Ammon, Aaron, Omner, Amulek, Zizram, Shiblon. Did I say that right?
Did I say that right?
And Corianton.
Corianton!
Obviously not made up names. And he takes.
I'm pretty sure I've put all of those into a gumbo that I made yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that Corianton gumbo.
You need some Corianton. You need a little bit of
Mahanrai Moriankamer.
A little Shinron.
That or it's a list of antidepressants.
Yeah.
He takes his crew and they go to visit a tribe of the Nephites called the Zoramites, who are kind of falling away from the true religion.
So they're becoming duskier.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Somebody got a tan and they stopped believing.
Did you go to Hawaii? You got some sun. No, I'm just wicked.
I jerked off twice.
So why am I so gingerly still?
You are quite gingerly.
Yeah. I'm doing it wrong. So what they find when they get to the Zoramites is that the Zoramites have built a synagogue, and remember these are Jews.
Yeah.
In the center of the synagogue, they've built a tower with just enough space on the top of it for one person to get up there. And the name of that tower is anybody?
Tower of Babel.
The Rameumptom.
Oh.
The Rameumptom.
Ram who up what?
Rameumptom. Tom.
It is not a great and spacious building until your Rameumptom is done. Right?
And in the book it says which translates to the holy stand. So in this translated book, there is like another layer of translation that is required.
So among these people, they're using a foreign language
exactly
to name their shit.
Right.
Joseph did not have the correct caliber peepstone for that.
The battery was low.
Interesting aside that the Rosetta Stone is kind of the touchstone idea for translation, right?
And then he uses rocks for
and then
his
he
thing.
uses rocks, and I don't know if you knew this, the Rosetta Stone was discovered about 2 years before Joseph Smith was born.
Yeah, and
proves it's true. Proves it's true.
Okay, so what happens with the Rameumptom is one of the Zoramites goes on top of it at a time once a week. Once a week, the Zoramites gather in their synagogue. One at a time, they go up to the top of this little tower, raise their arms up.
Which of the prequels? Because this is when there's the no confidence vote in the Senate, and Jar Jar Binks says we should give extraordinary powers to the Emperor. That's the one, right?
I think
part two.
It's after Sauron comes down. Wait. Anyway, we'll get to it.
I might be getting my Rameumptoms confused.
So they all go up to the top of this tower, one by one, stretch out their arms, and say this prayer. And they all say the same prayer.
Okay.
Holy, holy God, we believe that thou art God, and we believe that thou art holy, and that thou wast a spirit, and that thou art a spirit, and that thou wilt be forever a spirit. Holy God, we believe that thou hast separated us from our brethren, and we do not believe in the tradition of our brethren, which is handed down to them by the childishness of their fathers. We believe that thou hast elected us to be the holy children, and also has made us unto us known that God, fuck it, I don't care anymore.
You don't need any more. I think I have an explanation for this, though. You go on with what you're saying, but I think I understand this prayer. Actually, I think I've got a really good.
You keep talking. I'll just keep reading the prayer.
No.
So it goes on and on and on. And that's it. And each of them gets up there and says their prayer one at a time, and it's the same prayer.
Okay.
That sounds like George Costanza trying to fake his way through a prayer.
Well, here's my feeling is that it's way up high, right? they get up there, and
Well,
it's
it's
like
a Rameumptom.
they're all the way up their Rameumptom. They look down, and it's like, holy God.
Oh, shit.
they say the prayer, and then in the middle of it, they're like, oh, holy God. Okay.
Oh, I took a great and spacious shit when I looked down.
Oh, right. I just made a Rameumptom right in my pants.
So did going up in front of everybody once a week and basically saying the exact same thing, does that not describe the Mormon Church?
It describes all the churches.
It describes all the churches.
But this is a critical account,
Exactly.
right, of people. You're doing it wrong. This is Joseph Smith saying these people were doing it wrong.
Yes. And when
Build them all.
When they wrote the Book of Mormon, there was a lot of anti-Catholic sentiment that was running through that region of the country, and certainly through Joseph Smith. So this was a very unveiled jab at the Catholic Church, because that was all of their prayers are rote. But in the modern iteration of the Mormon Church, and I think all three of us did this as priests when we bless the sacraments.
Yeah.
You have to say that prayer on your little tower perfectly.
Yeah.
And if you screw it up, you've got to start over.
Letter for letter, you got to get all the words right, or somebody's going to come over to you and just say, brother, it's time to say it again.
Are you saying that little place I sat up in the front of the Ward House was a Rameumptom?
It was a Rameumptom. It was a Rameumptish.
I hope you washed.
We'd never washed before we tore the bread up. We were gross boys.
Yeah, and we ball it up into a ball and the outside of the ball was dark because our hands were so dirty.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
You people are awful.
So I think these are two lovely little stories that just are in the Book of Mormon and absolutely lay out the fact that the Book of Mormon has nothing to do with the Mormon Church.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to look at a religion and say, shove it up your Rameumptom.
That's right. Well, Doug, thanks for sharing that great and spacious bullshit with us. That I think really helped people understand. And look, everybody, I always say this: if you have any further questions you'd like to know more about the Mormon Church, send us an email with your home address, and we'll have somebody over there in about 20 minutes.
Literally, before you send the email,
they'll be there.
There will be a ring on your door.
A couple nice young men that will also offer to help you clean out your basement. So.
And will know very little about the Book of Mormon.
Yeah. You already know more than they do.
You can teach them about the Rameumptom. So, all right. Thanks, Uncle Doug.
All right, moving on.
Uncle Dan.
Yes, sir.
We are blessed.
We are blessed.
To have someone here to fill in some gaps with us today.
#blessed.
#blessed. With our returning champion, our philosophy expert, Professor Jim.
Professor Jim, welcome back.
Guess who's back in the motherfucking house?
Wow.
That's so professorial when you do that.
Is this how you keep it fresh for the students of today?
From the original OG philosopher, Snoop Dogg.
There you go. Yes, indeed. Professor Jim, what have you got for us today?
So I encountered an argument recently. It's from a literature that's come to be called intelligent design creationism.
Oh, yes.
It is the sort of... It's like new wave creationism, right? So old school creationism was sort of 6 days of creation, right? Sort of we get the story of the creation of the universe that we get in the books of Genesis. God said it happened over 6 days. It happened over 6 days. Boom, end of story.
Light in the dark, heaven and earth.
Yeah, and obviously when you
animals and plants.
When you bump into things like geology, right? That creates problems.
Yeah.
So
Teach the controversy.
That's one solution.
Yeah.
Some religiously inclined scientists have backed off the sort of young Earth creationism and said, granted, the Earth was not created in 6 days. It's not 4,000 years old. It's very, very old. It's they'll sort of even grant the kind of the time scale that modern scientists talk about. And they'll even grant evolution by natural selection.
Right.
Even for human beings.
Yeah, to a certain extent, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But what they'll say is, even if they grant all that, there are certain things that science can't explain, and boom, that's where your God is.
Right.
And so the intelligent design creationists have this term called irreducible complexity, which is supposed to be an example of this. And so the way irreducible complexity works is, the way natural selection works, right? It's this slow, gradual process where very slight modifications are subject to natural selection. This does better than that. It plays out over millions of years. What the intelligent design creationists do is they point to things in nature that they say couldn't be created by this slow, gradual process.
Right.
And so I'll give you one of the classic examples they point to are on little bacteria, the paramecium. They have something called a flagellum, which is like a little tail that sticks out, and it's like a motor that spins that then propels this little bacteria through whatever it's living in.
It's super adorable.
They're so cute. And when you look at the sort of the molecular machinery that goes into one of these flagellum, there's like 40 moving parts that are all intimately connected. And the intelligent design creationists point to that and say, aha, that could not have been created slowly, piece by piece. Basically, you needed all the pieces there at the same time to make that thing work.
Or the whole thing doesn't work.
Or the whole thing doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't have any value, and so natural selection couldn't select for it.
Right.
And so the way it works is they sort of, again, point to something, you can't explain that, God.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Here's what the problem with these things, this is what the problem that these always run into. You give it a little bit of time, and science ends up explaining it.
Right.
They come up with a plausible explanation.
Yeah, well,
it may not be the actual explanation, but they come up with multiple ways that this could have happened.
Right.
that don't require aha God.
Right.
Yeah. And in the case of the flagellum, they found that there are plenty of examples of if you look at other places in the world of microbiology, it might not be a tail that's sticking out that functions as a motor, but they'll have a sort of, it's almost like an hypodermic needle that sticks out, and it's a way of attacking and injecting DNA into another organism.
It's like a mosquito's stick.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And so what the evolutionary biologists have realized, and it turns out that these sort of hypodermic needles on these little things have like 20 of the 40 parts that a flagellum has.
Oh, okay.
And so what it looks like's happened here is you sort of had a thing that initially did something that then over evolutionary time adapted and did something else when other pieces came along.
Somebody looked over and was like, "Hey, Bob, you're wiggling your hypodermic there.
You're moving.
and it's getting you places. What's going on with that?
You're queer.
Fucking heretic."
And then,
Stone
like
him.
queers, he rose to dominate. Yeah.
It'll happen.
So this is an instance of something that is derogatorily called a God of the gaps argument.
Okay.
And the way it works is basically you point to what science hasn't explained yet, and you say, aha, God.
Right.
Yes.
And this is not these are bad arguments. I think it's worth mentioning that the original formulators of the term God of the gaps and the critics of it were actually religious people in the 19th century because it was the religiously inclined that could see this is not where we want to put our eggs.
This is not going to serve us well.
Exactly, because your God is always going to be shrinking because it's always only as big as the scientific gaps.
Right.
And one thing that we know from history is science marches on, it's going to explain more and more.
Right.
Right.
And if you're sort of constraining your God and always putting her or him into the gaps, each time a gap gets explained by science, your God gets smaller.
You get
And
less God.
That's right.
Right. And it's been a very rapid contraction of these gaps. If for people who are younger and newer and you don't know about Galileo and
Exactly.
and that when Galileo said it was a heliocentric model of the universe rather than a geocentric model of the universe, it sent Catholicism into a dither.
Yeah.
But it was true. So that there was a gap that shrunk.
Well, and there are still like astrophysical, unexplained astrophysical phenomena that some people will still like to attribute to God.
Absolutely.
Yes, there may have been a Big Bang, but who caused the
There you
Big
go.
Bang?
Yeah.
We don't know what caused it, how it was
Therefore
caused.
God.
Therefore God.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The second that we do know what caused it, God gets
just got a
smaller.
little- Yeah. No, and these are very, very old. So here, this is going to be a bit of a quiz. I'm going to give you an example of a God of the gaps argument from history. And the challenge will be see if you can guess which century it was produced in.
Oh, that
Just
is
remember, this isn't live. We edit, so we're going to get all these answers right. So eventually.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a conversation between a heretic and a believer. Heretic, says, "I don't believe in God." The believer says, "Tide goes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that."
Never a miscommunication.
That was the 20th century. that was the great religious philosopher Bill O'Reilly.
One Mr. Billow.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I think that was with David Silverman
It was
on his show. And
January 2011.
David Silverman was stumped. He's like, "What?
Not stumped by the argument, stumped by the fact that anyone would make the argument.
That God makes the tide?" Like that.
As a matter of fact, the face that he made, that Silverman made, was so perplexed in that moment that it became one of these sort of internet meme faces that just was used for
And you can
everything.
find it on YouTube. Just search Tide Goes In, Tide Goes Out.
And O'Reilly looked like he had just
Nailed
He was the cat who ate the canary.
But that's what I mean. One of the brilliant things about Bill O'Reilly is that he would be sure that he had something ready that would that was so bizarrely constructed that the argument wouldn't flummox the person. The existence of the argument would flummox the person.
And good for Silverman. He was just like, "You're a moron."
Well, because the thought is, that was a gap like 600 years ago.
Right, yeah.
But we sorted that one out.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the most simple physics problems we've ever solved.
Right.
Yeah, but
okay.
I will say, while on the one hand we can point to that as a sort of silly recent example, it's not like these are just made by squirrely talk show hosts. So even, Isaac Newton, right? So there's one sense in which Isaac Newton is famous for having filled a gap, right?
Right.
Where we thought, prior to him, this goes to, Mark, your earlier comments about Galileo. Why do the planets do what they do? Well, sort of God keeps them in motion and they're moving the way they're doing because of God.
The grand theological juggler.
Yeah. It had to be there's a lot up there. And, Newton comes along and gives us basically the natural physics of planetary motion. In that sense, he filled in a gap.
Right.
On the other hand, there were things that Newton knew his theory couldn't account for. For instance, all the planets are basically in a plane. They're sort of all in the same plane.
Almost on a disk, yeah.
Almost on a disk, exactly. And they all go in the same direction.
Right.
And Newton's physics couldn't explain that. Why? Newton said it was God. So it's not until
Because God doesn't work in 3D. It's a very little known fact, but God likes a good plane.
it's simpler.
2D is much easier.
He was also an alchemist, right? So Newton. So.
He had some squirrely ideas, yeah.
Yeah.
But he was also, what's interesting about that is he's both making this amazing scientific advance, and yet when he bumps into the thing he can't explain anymore, boom, God.
Right.
And it's not until we get sort of the information about the physics of how solar systems form on these sort of big spinning clouds of matter
material,
that we then understand why they're in a plane and why they all go in the same direction. But, even Newton was inclined to the God of the gaps.
Sure. Because it is the great frustration of any scientist. And Newton had advanced things light years in just his short little life. But that means that he's so good at seeing how things work that when he can't see, it's just going to be this crazy frustration.
There must not be an explanation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I can't see it. I can't figure it out. Yeah, well, okay, God.
Yeah. And I think what's particular, on the one hand, you can just say, if you find yourself having a conversation with somebody and they do this, where they basically say, science can't explain it, therefore God. You can point out to them that's a risky move. If you look at the history of science, your God has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
But the other thing that you can say is it's rather insidious in that it's a kind of science stopper. If you're always satisfied with God did it, there's no reason to ever discover or explore or push boundaries, right?
Right.
I mean, if we really just settled for tide goes in, tide goes out, you can't explain that. Okay, well then there's nothing else to science doesn't have anything to do here.
It's all solved and we can just all go home.
Yeah. I've always been puzzled by religious people making the God of the gaps argument because God, as I was taught about him growing up, is so much bigger than any ideas we could ever have, is so outside of, the concept is so enormous. If you really want to maintain your religious beliefs, science shouldn't threaten that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it should. Maybe it should threaten that because, as we show that things that the Bible claimed, absolute truth claims made by books like the Bible, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, are scientifically unsupportable. Mm-hmm. Maybe it should threaten that. Maybe that's why they react this way. But it's possible to believe in a God that's bigger than all these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think you're right that these arguments don't serve the believer for sure. But it's nice for us to keep in mind that that's kind of where they're coming from.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, if you're a heretic, it also means being comfortable with gaps. There's something that religion offers you, which is a sort of foolproof assurance that everything will always be explained.
Right.
And one of the discomforts that comes with being a heretic is you have to live in lots of cases with things like, I don't know, uncertainty. Yeah. And those are the gaps, right?
Right.
So, you used the sort of origin of the universe, Big Bang earlier. What happened before the Big Bang? I don't know. Right, you have to be comfortable saying that.
Yeah,
right.
And there is a certain level of kind of discomfort in that goes away when you say, "I know God."
Right.
Yeah, and I take comfort in the fact that, of course, we don't know all the answers to these things, but the comfort I take is they're probably knowable based on how our knowledge has increased.
When you look at history,
exponentially increased, and every field builds upon every other field. I think these things are knowable. I might not live to see them. My great-great-great-grandchildren might live to, but I think it's knowable stuff. I think the answers can be found.
I'm shocked to learn that you have progeny.
Yeah, me too. It was a crazy weekend.
That whole month was kind of nuts.
I think there's a great primer on this in, I can't remember which Dawkins book, where he talks about the eye.
Yeah.
Because the eye is another irreducible complexity argument.
It's one of the examples.
Yeah, they make a claim about.
And he's like, what the fuck do you know about eyes? And those irreducible claim arguments often just stem from a refusal to have intellectual curiosity and imagination.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, eyes are just a system of nerves and tissues, and they can be explained. And
what I do love you highlighting, Jim, is this ability to say I don't know is actually the most freeing thing in the world. It can be terrifying, especially there's this American aesthetic. I don't know how much it's prevalent in other parts of the world, but the thought of not knowing something is so terrifying to many Americans.
That's right.
That we get this. It's why Jimmy Kimmel can send a roving reporter out onto the street and ask them about, a presidential debate that hasn't happened yet, and people will supply answers for the questions that they should just say, "Oh, I don't know." They should just be willing to admit, "Oh, I guess I just didn't miss. I guess I didn't see that."
I think it exposes a vulnerability that people are oftentimes uncomfortable exposing.
And for whatever reason, not knowing something is seen as a weakness.
Right.
But the more we can...
Did you pay attention to the election a year ago? That seemed like the triumph of not knowing anything. It is ascendant.
Well, it can be. It's good to know things, but it's never good to pretend to know something that you don't actually know.
Right.
And that's what a lot of believers are doing when they're using this God of the Gaps thing, is that they're pretending to know something that they don't actually know.
Or not caring that there might be alternative explanations for it.
Sure. So I think there's so much power in owning what you don't know and saying, and being willing to say it. I don't know the answer to that. And if somebody comes up to you and, is like, well, if you're such a big atheist, what about blah, blah, blah? And if you don't know, you can just say, I don't know.
We ran into this a little bit, Dan, on again, referencing the Doug Fabrizio show when we were on Radio West here in Salt Lake City on NPR. Somebody hit us up with, well, you atheists claimed, and it was a Mormon believer. You atheists claim to know everything. You have all the answers. And because it was the wine and cheese circuit NPR, we didn't, we were on our best behavior. I didn't say, look, asshole, you claim all the answers to life, the universe, and everything are in 4 books.
Right.
The difference between the skeptical worldview and the religious worldview is a comfortable uncertainty and an absolute certainty. And I think that's kind of explains the difference largely.
Yeah.
So cultivate comfort with the not knowing. And I think that's a great place to leave it. Thanks for coming in there, Buster.
Good to be back, friends.
Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Jim.
it, Jim.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Uncle Mark.
Yes, Uncle Dan.
There is a trend that is happening in the world.
that everything seems to be going backwards and society's falling apart at an alarming pace?
That's one of them, but that's
Right.
not the one to which I'm referring.
Okay.
Because in this world, everything's coming up roses.
Yes.
And by roses, I mean patrons.
Yes, we have been collecting patrons like other people collect spoons.
We're you make it sound kind of nefarious, actually. When you
Really?
say it. What, collecting? I don't know.
Who doesn't like a good spoon?
Well, everyone likes a good spoon. Maybe all of our patrons are sort of collectively spooning.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
It's a cuddle.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Join the cuddle puddle. These are people who give us a little bit of money each episode, and in return for that, they get early access to the show.
Yep.
And soon there will be a stream of patrons only content that will be flowing.
Yeah, man.
So these, and then they just help to make the show happen.
Totally, and we're so grateful.
So we have a few people to thank. I'm going to thank Apolboy. I don't know how to say it.
Is that 5 patrons, or is that one you
That's
can't pronounce?
one that I'm struggling to say. Whatever it is that they
Whoever
tried to
you are,
write.
patron, thank you, and
Thank
sorry
you,
we can't figure your name out.
And David, thank you so much. And then we got a couple people that we have to give on the spot, impromptu patron saints to.
We have to beatify.
We got to canonize somebody real quick.
All right. Well,
so you're going to canonize somebody for and in the name of Liz.
Liz. Well, Liz, obviously the saint that is most germane to your situation would obviously be Saint Polypsius of Rexburg, and Saint Polypsius is, as we all know, the patron saint of marmalade and surface-to-air missiles.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good one to have, Liz.
Congratulations.
You are one lucky Liz.
Yep.
Lucky Lizzie is what.
And you got one for who?
Yeah, this one's for Robin, and this is Saint Cardboard of McElwain.
Yes.
Saint Cardboard. Lots of miracles in Saint Cardboard's name. Including the miracle of the on-time delivery.
Yeah.
Which
Oh my
was,
gosh.
an amazing thing.
Yeah. You're going OG.
Yeah. This is back in the day, but yes, he's the patron saint of schools of fishes. And a little too bright light.
Right. But fishes who school.
Yeah.
And now would this include like camera flashes, or is this a steady light?
Sort of any of these things, any of a number, when you
that
walk,
causes an immediate dilation.
you walk out the door and you've been in a dark room for too long. Like if you leave a casino,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
That's why you never leave the casino.
Never leave the casino.
Yeah.
Unless you have the patronage of Saint Cardboard. Is that what I
think
just
it was Saint Cardboard. Yeah, of course. And so, you know,
Robin, that's you're under his or her watchful protection.
yes, forever and ever. Amen. So thanks, guys. We very much appreciate it. If you want to become a patron yourself, it's so easy. You just go to howtoheretic.com.
Yeah.
Just click on the Patreon link. It'll take you there in just lickety-split. Get your mom's credit card off of the dresser, right? Enter all the numbers it tells you to.
And then you decide how much you want her to have to pay every month.
And remember,
every episode.
Putting a 0 on the end of a number really doesn't mean anything. So
It's
just
zero.
keep putting zeros, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got it, kids?
You could be our first $50 per episode patron if you
Or
want
more, more zeros.
All it is more zeros.
And if you can't afford to do that, we love you anyway. But if you have a moment, give us a nice review somewhere, because what that does is boost the show and gets it to more people.
Yeah.
And more people is what this is all about. So we love you all.
And wait, there's one other person we didn't thank. Oh no, there's not.
Oh, you know what? Oh, we also have one more thing. We have a correction.
Oh, we do?
Yes, last week we thanked a new
was the
patron, and you fucked it up, Dan.
I did.
You fucked it up.
I can't read. I don't know if you guys know this. I have to sound it all out in my head before I say the things, and sometimes I don't do it very well.
Right. So I believe the actual patron is Ringing Rocks Ranch.
Yes.
In Montana, and we want to apologize for calling you Raging Rocks Ranch, and
encourage you to change the name of the ranch, because Raging Rocks is awesome.
yeah, it sounds a lot more fun.
It sounds like bold and strong.
No
and
more of your
powerful.
fucking excuses. Change the name. So, all right, everybody, thanks.
Thanks so much.
Moving on. Well, friends, once in a while we like to beta test a new segment on our little shoe, and today we're trying out one that I think is going to be a rich vein to a rich scab to pick at. For
gross!
Our religious followers. So,
and considering what we're about to talk about, that couldn't be a more deliciously.
See what I do? Do you see what I do for the people? So this little segment is called Sacred Cows, where we look at some very, very the holiest of holies of people's goofy beliefs, and we give them a little test drive. We kick the tires.
We just see what's going to happen. Sure.
So what sacred cow? Our Uncle Doug's joining us to enjoy this cow.
Yeah, I need all the help I can get on this.
So what sacred cow are we looking at today, there, Dan?
Well, I Eucharist, Eucharist, we all Eucharist for transubstantiation.
Yes,
I think
bread man.
Yes, we're gonna have some fun with the whole concept of a Eucharist and all the different ways that people believe they're eating Jesus Christ.
They're eating an old Jew.
It's possibly the weirdest thing out there that is still completely believed in by millions of people.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I've never understood it. Now, gentlemen, we three, raised in the Mormon Church, we participated weekly in a sacrament.
Yes.
What we called just what was really creatively known as the sacrament.
Yeah.
In the Mormon Church,
which was a symbolic sacrament,
and clearly so.
Yeah, and not only symbolic, also a bullshit version of it, because even in the Book of Mormon, it says wine.
Yep.
But in Mormon Church, you have a piece of white bread and you drink water,
and it's like a cute little meal for a mouse. It's like a little shred of, as you know, we've established, dirty white bread torn up by adolescent boys, and a wee little plastic cup that's a thimble full of water.
Yeah, exactly.
And just regular old tap water.
Yeah.
And regular old Wonder Bread.
Yep.
The whole concept of the Eucharist is church snacks, really.
It's an amuse-bouche of old Jew.
Although it doesn't amuse anything, it's usually quite awful.
Yeah.
But at least in other churches, they actually had wine as opposed to water.
Right.
So this is all based on the story of the Last Supper, and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ
was torn limb from limb
by jackals.
By jackals. They let him walk. He left alone, and he was walking to his car. He was beset by jackals, and that's what happened. And the end.
Aren't we all beset by jackals at one point or another in our lives? So he, at one point, in this Last Supper, breaks some bread and says, and offers it to his disciples and says, "This is my body, eat it and remember me." And then he pours some wine and he says, "This is my blood, drink it and be vampires with me."
Right.
And it's all this nice symbolism of remembering someone who is important.
Right. Or if you're one of the disciples, Simon says to Thomas, "Dude, it always gets weird at dinner with this guy. It's so fucking strange.
I just like that you
Why are we all sitting on the same side of the table?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a creative choice that they made.
The Mater D made.
Yeah. Based on the prophecy of Da Vinci that was going to come along. Anyway, so then Christians from a very early point in Christianity started doing the a Eucharist, which, by the way, is just from the Greek, which means Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Eucharist, the word. So basically, Christians from the first century were just participating in this taking of bread and wine to symbolize Christ. But at some point along the way,
it took a turn.
It forgot that it was symbolism. And it became, somehow we got to believe that this is a real thing. Because Jesus didn't say, "This is like my body," or "This is to remind you of my body," or anything.
He said,
"This is my body."
Right.
Now, it was a piece of bread that he was handing the person, and he had his whole body at the time. So it seems very clear to me that he was speaking in symbols.
Or he was literally made of bread.
Or
Which is,
Or-
oh my God.
which is literally more plausible.
Right. Well, there's that.
What
there's-
are the implications of this revelation we've had?
And who is this Pillsbury Doughboy, and why isn't he the second coming?
He is the Messiah of baked goods, not man.
And if you're gluten-free, you're the devil.
Yeah, something along those lines. And there have been troubles with like churches refusing to do gluten-free Eucharist, but that's a whole other.
That's all of the annoying things in one basket right there.
Yes, indeed. So there became luminary scholars throughout history who would talk about this taking of the Eucharist. Saint Ignatius of Antioch theorized about it. He said that he wrote in a letter, "I desire the bread of God, the heavenly bread, the bread of life, which is the flesh of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who became afterwards of the seed of David and Abraham. And I desire to drink of God, namely his blood, which is incorruptible, love, and eternal life."
Getting kind of hot.
It's a weird way to sign that letter.
It's all of the things are weird.
Yeah.
It only gets weirder from here. In about the year 150, a guy named this doesn't sound right, but a guy named Justin Martyr,
Oh, what a shitty last name.
which is that a title? I don't know. I didn't research Mr. Martyr. He wrote, "Not as common bread and common drink do we receive these, but in like manner as Jesus Christ our Savior, having been made of flesh by the word of God, had both flesh and blood for our salvation, so likewise have we," I don't even understand what I'm saying. "So likewise have we been taught that the food of which is blessed by the power of his word, and from which our blood and flesh by transmutation are nourished, is the flesh and blood of that Jesus who was made flesh." Did you understand any of that?
I fell asleep. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think that was the trick that most of the religious scholars used, was like, if I say this obtusely enough,
Yeah.
no one can,
If I put you into a trance, it's going to make more sense.
refute me.
So is that where the word transmutation first appears?
Well, so there were a lot of different words that popped up. Transmutation and I had a list of them somewhere. I don't know where that list is.
Well, of course, we ended up with transubstantiation.
We ended up with Oh, here we go. Yes, 4th century English Christian writers talked about elementation, transformation, transposing, and alteration of the bread. But by the Middle Ages, we had settled very comfortably into transubstantiation, which is that the bread itself
Yes.
and the wine itself become flesh and blood
Yes.
of Jesus Christ.
Human flesh and blood.
inside your belly,
Actual in your mouth.
in your mouth.
It becomes actual like flesh. I don't know when it actually happens.
In that way, it's like Pop Rocks, right? It's that putting it in your mouth causes some kind of strange reaction that can be a little fun.
It may have happened actually during the blessing of the thing, which is weird because you'd think it would look a little different or taste a little different, but no.
Like a little bloody hair hunk morsel.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on what part you get,
A little bit of the thigh.
yeah, they don't really say what part of the body, do they?
they say his body.
Just his body.
It's just you could be getting
It's just a crapshoot.
Jesus peen
Yeah.
if you're not careful,
Or just a mouthful of spleen, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, not again.
pubes. Who knows?
Just pubes.
So a toenail.
Priest just has this bucket of just horrid slop.
So the Holy Roman Catholic Church has believed this for a long time. Now you may have heard of a fellow named Martin Luther.
Oh, yeah.
Who came along and said, "I say thee nay, Catholic Church," on all of these points of difference, and he decided to take a very different view of the Eucharist and what happens. And by very different, I mean, can you tell the difference? Because let's just point out. So the Lutherans, so while the Roman Catholics are believing that the substance becomes the body and blood of Christ,
Yeah.
and then you're eating body and blood of Christ, the Lutherans believe that the body and blood of Christ are present in, with, and under the forms of the bread and wine.
Well, that's an amazing. Yeah, I get it.
That's a perfectly good reason to go to war.
Big difference there.
That's right.
Huge.
Good reason to kill a third of Europe.
It's one of those things, one of those quibbles that I just don't know that I can get behind. Like I was excited about reading about Luther because I figured he'd be like, yeah, of course, it's just a symbol.
Exactly.
It doesn't turn into Jesus. That would be crazy. Oh no, it does. Well, just in a totally different way.
The church split because of the Oxford comma, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and also it's even more it's stranger bullshit than the Catholic bullshit, which is it's in there. It's just in the bread.
It's just next to.
It's in it. How do you? Oh, okay. In a liquid, how is the liquid inside the liquid? It's all the liquid.
It's a suspension.
Oh, it's a okay.
It's
like one of those.
It's like the balls, the tapioca balls that you get in little Korean stores.
Clots. It's just clots that you suck up.
Yeah, that's right. It's like chocolate chips. Only it's only it's Jesus.
It's hemoglobin.
So then there's also then there's Reformed Christians who believe in what they call a real spiritual presence of Christ. So very, very different again, which is that Jesus is definitely in the Eucharist, but spiritually and not physically.
Sure.
That makes a big difference.
So
to me.
it's haunted.
It's haunted bread.
It's a haunted
bread.
It is
haunted bread and haunted wine.
Yeah. So
your bread has that spooky old Jew in it.
It does. You wanted to say boo. You wanted to
be amazing.
Bah!
Did you go, Jesus Christ? So dumb.
Oh,
so
that's
dumb. How does anybody not just laugh at this?
If any of this, well, we're doing that right now. That is literally what we're doing as we speak. I just, I would believe in a religion if a ghost would jump out of the bread.
And you know what? And I don't know if you're going to cover this point.
Okay.
But the wine, we've all been to a Catholic service, right?
Yep,
We've all been to a mass.
Yep.
Sure.
And I have observed, I have not gone up there and done, the Mecca Lecca High, Mecca High.
Even though when they cracked open that bottle of wine, I started getting the shakes.
But there is a presence in the wine, which is...
The worm?
No. That if 600 people are drinking out of the same fucking cup...
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of life in that wine.
That presence is herpes.
That presence is everything. It is it is everything that is in human saliva now lives in that wine. So, yeah, I guess it is haunted.
Well, and then they do that thing now, I don't know if you've seen this, where you go up and you take a sip, and they have like a white cloth, and they give the part that your lips touch just a little wipe.
Wipe.
And they kind of rotate the cup around, and
Sure.
a little wipe.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah,
We're
that's a very anti-vax methodology.
I think you've got it wrong. They're not trying to wipe off the germs. They're mingling the germs. They're making sure that all of the germs are one.
They're creating a bouillabaisse of
super virus,
viral infection,
so that we're all a community of disgusting goo. And some people actually do, there are people in the world who have been ordered by doctors not to partake of the Eucharist because it is a communal thing and they have either
a bad immune system or something. Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. We've covered the basics of this thing. It has splintered off into lots of things, coming down the ages until it got to the American version, which is our Mormon version, which is blessed by teenagers, and then and it's just basically the shittiest bread you can find and water.
Yeah,
and we all have to pretend like it's meaningful and. And every fourth Sunday, which maybe we'll talk about Fast Sunday.
It's
on this
open
show.
mic night.
It's open mic night, but also it's the first food you've had to eat all day, and you're just like, okay, I want more.
The most poorly named event in the Mormon calendar, Fast Sunday.
Right.
It is not that, but we'll talk about it another time. But yeah, it's. I get the symbolic thing. I guess.
Of course, it's like. It's remembrance. It's unity.
Yeah, we're doing this together.
Yes,
there is that.
It's kind of lovely.
I mean, I suspect we call it breaking bread, probably based on some of the the Last Supper metaphor.
Maybe
instead of hacking flesh.
But I got to
hack some flesh with you and get to know you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna magically turn this loaf of bread into a human thigh, and we're just gonna do that together, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a little more interesting if you really believe, like, half the United States Supreme Court, if you really believe that you have a stringy-ass piece of 2,000-year-old Jewish carpenter in your mouth.
Yeah.
And the only thing you have to wash it down is a little bit of his corpuscles.
Yeah.
So,
and I think corpuscles is an ingredient that more people need. So there you go. That's the Eucharist. That's the transubstantiation. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah.
It's baffling on so many levels. Growing up as a Mormon, I never understood it, and now that I'm not a Mormon, I also don't understand
I
it.
more don't understand it. Yeah, it's a fucked up, weird ass idea that every Catholic church around the world, every time there's a mass, is a massive cannibal cult.
Yeah.
By their own belief, not mine.
Right.
In the 21st century.
In the 21st century. So it is odd that our first sacred cow turned out to be human-ish.
Flesh.
But there you go, folks. The holiest of things are oftentimes the stupidest. So.
Yeah, so enjoy your Sunday, everybody. Go get a snack.
If you're as hungry
Bon
as I am.
appetit.
Yeah. Let's move on. Well, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear your take on what happens when you put a cracker in your mouth. Please write us an email, howto@howtoheretic.com.
Or if you are allergic to human blood and want to receive the sacrament some other way, you can leave us a voicemail at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986.
Hey, thanks again to all of our patrons. And for those of you who want to join, don't forget you can go to howtoheretic.com and click on that Patreon button.
That's right. Or you can, if you want to yell at us in short form, you can find us on Twitter at HowToHeretic. And thanks, Cody Layton, for editing the show.
And thank you all for coming and joining us today.
Yes, Merry Christmas, everyone.
God bless us, everyone.